Hey guys and girls, Mark here from SeaWorld Earth. I know it's been a while, but today we're going to go out, do some land photography, and going to go down to a place that I've taken you to before, Cape Zampa. Everything today is going to be shot on the GoPro, so I'm sorry if this looks a little bit lesser quality than normal, but I just want to be able to do something quick and easy, but without compromising too much of the quality. So I'm going to get geared up. We're going to be doing super long telephoto shots of hopefully explosive waves as they smash off of some rocks, and I'll be taking you through how I shoot images like this. It's probably about a 20-minute drive to get to where we need to get to, so I cut through a whole bunch of farmers' fields. It looks like we're going to have a great day of good weather. There's a few clouds around, but for the most part it is nice blue skies here in Okinawa, and hopefully it will all play into our hands to get some really nice imagery. I was actually at this location yesterday teaching a workshop, a long exposure photography workshop, and the conditions were fantastic, and today nothing really has changed other than there's a little less rain about, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get some good images. For today what I'm going to be using is a Tamron 150 to 600 millimeter zoom on my EOS 5 DSR, but I'm also going to be using an ND64, which is a new filter that I've got for that zoom lens. It's a 95 millimeter thread filter, so it's quite a big one, a little bit on the costly side, but in order to be able to shoot that kind of image that I need today, because of the technique that I'll be going through when we get there, I needed to have that with me. So hopefully, let's get things going. Let's drive through these beautiful conditions, and I will catch up with you when we get to Cape Zampa. Well, here we are, we're at Cape Zampa. I've got all the gear I need in my lovely little backpack here, so we're going to get ready. We're going to go through a little trek through some undergrowth, and we will get to the vantage point where hopefully we'll be able to get some great images. Now, the access point I'm going to use to get to this location is through this undergrowth, and it's a way or an access point for a lot of the surfers. This is a surf spot as well. But I'm not sure if there's going to be any surface here today because of the swell or because of the lack of swell. So we'll see. Hopefully we've still got some waves hitting the rocks out here as I saw yesterday, but it will all just be a matter of heading out to find out. And this is what I love, just heading out into the open, into the wild, and just finding some images. Okay folks, as you might be able to see just offshore here, there's quite a prominent rock. Okay, I'll narrow down the field of view on the GoPro in a short while to be able to show you. But what I've noticed, I've been here for about 5-10 minutes, just sat here watching the water, watching the waves. They are quite a bit lesser in size than yesterday, which was they were pretty impressive. In fact, all of this area was getting washed out every every big king set that came in. As you can see, those that wave size now is greatly reduced. But every now and again, what I've noticed is you get a really nice splash of water on those rocks there, and that's hopefully what I'm going to be photographing today. All right, so let's go through the gear and I'll show you how I plan to get that shot. Okay, well, like I said, today we're going to be shooting with the Tamron 150-600, which I do have set up in my backpack. And the pack I'm using today is my Low Pro Trekker 350 AW2. It's my go-to backpack for all of these excursions out into the wilds of Okinawa. Now, I'm actually going for a very certain aesthetic on these shots today. What I want to do, I'm not just going to have frozen shot action, and by that I mean just like a regular photograph using a high shutter speed, etc, etc. What I want to do, because there's spray coming off of these rocks, is what I want to try and create is a sense of dynamic motion, and in order to do that I'm going to be using a slower than normal shutter, and I'm hoping to hit around about 1/4 second. Okay, maybe even a little bit less than that, maybe about 1/3 second. All right. Now, what that's going to do is once the splash that hits the rock, the impact of the wave when it hits the rock, it shoots up in the air, and then the wind's going to start drifting that as spray. So what you can achieve is almost like a hard line edge where that main body of water is, but then as the wind starts taking the spray away, it then starts to create motion and shapes behind that main edge of spray, and some of them can be pretty interesting. And other than that, what you're also going to get is any of the water or wave that's acting around the base of the rock. You're going to get that the motion within that in order to create like a slow shutter kind of silky water effect. So that's the aim for today. I'm not going to be using a tripod. What I've actually got is a large foot here on the bottom of my lens, and all I'm going to be doing is resting that on the rock, so it's absolutely rock solid stable. It's going to take a while to be able to find the right position on the rocks and get that lined up correctly on the rocks. But if it's not 100%, if the horizon's a bit off, then we just fix that in post, so not a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up for that. Now, in order to accomplish that kind of shot on a day like today, where we do have some sunlight, although it's hidden behind a cloud at the moment, I'm going to be using this Format Hi-Tech ND64. It is a 95mm filter thread, as mentioned previously, and as you can see, quite nice and opaque. Now, as with any long exposure imagery, I decide which aperture I'm going to use, and today it will be something around about f11. I want to try and be on ISO 100, or the ISO that allows me to get as close to the shutter speed that I want, which is about 1/3 second. Okay, so I'm going to try and find a position where I can line up that shot, and then it's basically just a waiting game to see when a wave comes along. And I can see the tide's actually coming in, and the waves are okay size, but hopefully as time goes on that size will increase and we'll have more incidents of big water impacts on the rocks out there. So let's go ahead and see if we can find a spot to get set up. Okay, so after a whole bunch of messing around trying to get comfortable, I've adopted a pretty uncomfortable position on these rocks. But my lens is nice and level. I'm on the rocks very, very nicely, and every now and again we are getting quite a good splash of water coming up because the tide's coming in. The waves visibly seem to be getting bigger, so that only bodes well. I'm shooting at about 400mm at the moment, but I will tighten in. I'm getting quite longer shots at the moment, but I will tighten in when we start to get some really big hoofing waves coming in. But at the moment things are looking good. Because behind the waves you've actually got quite a grey kind of sky aesthetic, I don't really need to use too much of and I haven't got a grad filter for this lens anyway, so hopefully we can just adjust whatever we may need in post. But at the moment Oh, here comes some pretty good waves, so I'm just going to crack on. Oop, there we go. Okay, now we're lined up in 3, 2, 1. Nice. Okay, I actually opted at the end of the day, I'm on, where are we, f18 ISO 100 and 1/3 of a second, so there is a nice amount of blur. The lens, as you can see, is absolutely rock solid on these rocks. It's not going anywhere. I was up here a while back trying to do this same thing, and I had the camera on a tripod, and the problem with that is that even with a tripod in elevated winds, there is going to be vibration on the lens, and when you're doing shots of 1/4 of a second or a little bit slower, then it renders the image useless. So there's no point fighting against that. So I thought, you know, heck, even if stuff does get a bit scratched, if it's not scratched, it's not getting used, as long as it's not the glass, that is. So I'm going to go ahead and take a whole bunch of shots. I will play like a slideshow at the end of some of the shots I've taken. But until the next time, folks, if you haven't already, please do subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment below, and check out the community tab as well, because there is some interaction that goes on there quite regularly. And please do hit that little subscribe button. And until next time, I'm going to love you and leave you. Please stay safe, stay sane, stay happy and stay healthy. And until the next time, enjoy your photography and reach out if you have any questions. All right, take care, all the best. Here comes a wave. Nailed it.